I'm ready.
Why not?
All right, we should be live. Let me fade this music out. Can everyone hear us? How's the audio? Are you able to hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh,
Yep.
okay.
I just
No
saw
one,
it pop up on Twitch.
no one said anything.
I don't know who was supposed to speak.
Matt, can you hear?
Yeah, I'm trying to keep my mute off so I don't you
Okay.
guys don't echo through my.
Well, welcome everybody to the third episode of Amplify with Friends. I saw someone in our Discord ask, "What is Amplify and Friends?" So it's probably a good place to start. Should I give the overview, Sean, or do you want
Um, I don't think I haven't prepared for this, but
to?
it's a Twitch show that kind of shows the people behind Amplify and also talks a little bit about ideas that you may not be exposed to yet, and it features experts from the community. Like last time we had Nikki from the engineering team show up, and that was a really good time. And I think we're also going to start involving our new community builders program.
That is a good intro, I thought. So maybe I could talk about. Oh, it sounds like my voice is a little low. Let me make it a little louder here. Okay, that should be better. So the Community Builders program, in case anybody is wondering, let me put the link in. But it's essentially a program that recognizes folks who are really passionate about different AWS services. So for us, that's folks who are more interested in Amplify, who have, written docs or have done tutorials, have just been really active in the community, talking about it. And there's a lot of benefits for folks who are in the program. So you get access to special talks with folks from within AWS. I believe there's some sort of credits gifted, and hopping on shows like this. So if you're at all interested in a program like that, there's a place to apply in that link that I posted. So I think that leads us to our guest here, who's Matthew Mark. So he's a community builder, specifically within the Amplify ecosystem. Would you want to give an introduction to yourself, Matt?
Yeah. Software developer, been in the game about 4 or 5 years. Kind of started working with Amplify 2 years ago. Had this big shiny new app I wanted to build, and I made the unfortunate mistake of building it with Amplify when I didn't know anything about GraphQL or Apollo or any AWS services really. And so back then it was a little bit different than it is now. You guys have done so much since then. But back then I was trying to take a tutorial from Adrian Hall because I had built a restaurant. It was like a mobile payment app for restaurants. So I'm trying to take his 4-part series walkthrough of a restaurant app and trying to map it into Amplify back then. It did not work. So I ended up having to take all of my Amplify CloudFormation, move it into serverless so that I could get it to work with that. And then after all of that, all said and done, I learned AWS in and out pretty deep and fell in love.
That's a good story. So just so I fully understand, so you essentially didn't know a lot about AWS. You discovered Amplify. You tried using Amplify, but I guess since it was a few years ago, it didn't necessarily have everything that you wanted, and then you basically just became really involved in the AWS ecosystem.
Yeah, sounds about right.
How would you say, what are the features that you are excited about, today, or sort of what are the aspects that make you really enjoy Amplify?
Oh man, for me, it's a lot of the auto-gen features, and then that's really what most of it is. It's the auto-gen features off the schema. I love being able to throw Elasticsearch on there and have it do everything for me. Or today, I'm going to generate code, but I'm still going to use it for my single table design, right? Because there's still some jelly in those donuts there. You know what I mean?
Totally.
So even more, yeah. So the pretty much all the directives is what I love the most, and then obviously the seamless integration for the client side. I don't have to worry about auth or anything else, and then all the way up to S3, and it makes it too easy. I've done 3 or 4 projects over the last month, and it's just And like Nader said it best, like once you get the hang of it, like, man, I can just like rip out apps that are fully scalable, secure, reliable. Like, it's wild.
That's awesome. We gotta clip that. On Twitch, there's a feature to make clips, so that's a good testimonial. Uh, well, I guess without further ado, do you want to talk about what the like title for today is and what you'll be focused on?
Yeah, so I've seen after doing these projects, more than just single table design, I see new developers not really understanding the big difference between a scan, a get, or a query when it comes to DynamoDB. I think that's like the best place to start for why we talk about single table design is because the way AppSync is set up, we have like a lot of relations, and then they will go and grab, if you have a resolver with an array of images, it's going to go and make a GET request for each image, right? And so like when we look at a scan will go grab X amount of records, okay, until it's done. Okay, and you're going to pay for one read request unit for each one of those records. Okay, so if I scan 1,000 records, I just paid for 1,000 read request units. Now, with a GET request, it's just one GET request unit, but if I have an array and AppSync goes to resolve that array of images, it's going to make a GET request for each image. So if I have 10 images, that's 10 read request units. Now, with single table design, all those images would be tied to one user's ID, and I would make one query. So one query can be only one read request, can be up to one read request unit or more. It's all based on the amount of data that you return. So the point is I can go from 10 queries down to 10 GET requests, which are 10 RCUs, down to one RCU potentially with a query. Okay, and then when you start to look at that and you multiply your traffic times users times subcategories, like I can show you a little back of the envelope math, but essentially 100 million requests that resolve 100 categories over the course of a month, if they're all GET requests, it's going to cost you $7,000+ in 1 month if you're doing that much traffic. I wish I could do that kind of traffic on something I'm doing, but that's not the point really. Now, if I do it with a query and I do it right with single table design, instead of making 100 requests per item, maybe I'm only making one, right? And so that takes that down by a fraction. And at that large scale, your $7,000 bill will jump down to like $87. It's ridiculous. Like I did some of the math on Dynabase, and I could probably show you a little bit at the end there, but it's just like, so the point is GET is one read request unit. A query can be a whole bunch of records, but it only costs you the amount of data that you return back instead of per record. So that's a little bit about why we do single table design, right? Now it gets a little bit more complicated because you have to think about things differently. So I'll share my screen here and show you.
Let me switch that over. Yeah, let me know when you shared your screen.
Okay.
There we go.
So when we talk about single table design, it's based off this e-commerce site. So like, let's think about if I have a product and I have a product with, let me pull this up for you. I have a product with multiple categories, okay? So now we have a many-to-many relationship. Based in like the Amplify docs, they'd essentially ask you to create a join table, right? But if I go to get a list of products by category on that join table, what's going to end up happening is I'm going to have to go request the product or the category, and then it's going to go resolve each product. So if I have a category with 100 products, that means I just made 100 database requests, okay? And then it has to go get the joins, then it has to go get the records itself. So I started to think about it a different way, and I was like, what if we could do, instead of having one product record in a join, what if we created essentially a join record, okay, that held the product in the category, all right? So this is our database design for today. Okay, so we have products, we have product categories, and vendors. Products are owned by vendors, okay, sorted by products. Product categories are just like products. They have the same properties, but it's essentially a combination of the category name and the products so that we can search products by category. So for every product I have and I associate it to a category, let's say I associate, let's say we have bath products and I have a soap. So I create a soap product. With this design, I have to create a product record for soap. And then if I had, or I'm sorry, for bath. It'll be easier when I get there, but to show this. But the point is that instead of having a join record, we're gonna replicate this product categories, and we're gonna see that I will be able to go get all category products in one request versus going to get a join table and then a bunch of records based off of that join table. So, and then here are some of our access patterns, right? So I really recommend anybody who's interested in single table design jump into Alex DeBree's book. He really goes deep. It's awesome. It's 700 pages of gold. I cannot recommend it enough.
What's the book
the
called?
idea is, just type in Alex DeBree DynamoDB.
It's just the DynamoDB book.
The DynamoDB book. Wow.
Yeah, very creative naming.
Oh, yeah.
But also he has a guide online. He's published like several chapters for free online, and also Rick Houlihan from AWS gave this the definitive single table design talk at reInvent I think a couple years ago. So those are the resources I point people to.
Cool.
All right, so like I said, we're going to do products, product categories, vendors. And so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go into Amplify, and we are going to, tell me how well you guys can see this screen.
You should try to zoom in a little bit more and get rid of console spam if you're not accessing it right now.
I think make it 1 or 2 bigger, yeah. Oh, is that
there you go.
Cool. Oh. Get rid of a couple of these here. All right, and so like I said, this is Sean and Natter's Jamstack e-commerce site. I just took the static part out and made it flexible. So what we're gonna do is add an API. So at this point, I've already added Cognito, storage, and a direct Lambda resolver because we didn't have time in the scope of this to do all those things. So we're just gonna focus on the schema and the schema generation.
Just for people watching, have you pushed this to a repo somewhere that people can clone?
Yeah, I will push that today after this.
Okay. All right.
We'll post it in the Discord. So Amplify Discord. There we go.
Oh, okay, yeah, I'll post that. I see what you're saying.
We have a channel, and then it's just an easy way for everyone to get the links.
Yeah, I am.
Oh, everyone is laughing about the light mode.
Oh, I know. Everyone's a hater.
Why don't you have? You're a light mode type person.
I don't know why, and I don't remember when well, you know what? I like to work in very bright rooms, and I don't know, the dark doesn't do it.
We're losing a lot of viewers. They're saying it's too bright.
Well, here, I can do something.
I'm just kidding.
That.
No,
I was like, it was really that bad. So no, I do not, but I'm going to go for one anyhow, blah, blah, blah.
By the way, for some reason, we can't see the very bottom of the terminal.
The very bottom. Oh, I know why.
It's like cut off just a little.
It's available in Zoom, but sorry, yeah, it's available in Zoom, but
there we go. That fixed it. Whatever you just did.
Okay. All right.
Okay, cool. So here I have my little schema, right? So we're going to do this. The first thing we're going to do is we're essentially going to trick Amplify into creating all of our resources for us, and then we're just going to point them at our single table. Now, I know I say single table. In this example, there's technically 3 tables. There's a customer and a vendor table, but then all the products and categories all live under the products table, right? So here, pretty straightforward. We're going to do primary key, sort key, and then we're going to have the GSI, PK, and that's going to match for our product. do these side by side here so you can see them. All right, so there's our product. There's our category.
GSI is global secondary index. It's kind of like an, I don't know, I think of it as an optimization, like it gives you a second way to query the same table.
I'm glad you mentioned that. So a GSI, also on a side note for everybody. So a GSI, when DynamoDB, you have primary keys and sort keys, and then the primary key is essentially like the main index on the table. When you create a GSI, it creates another index on the table, which really, by the way, is just replicating your data. Okay, so it's just essentially a whole nother replication of your table. For all of those you don't know who have like 20 GSIs, be scarce with that. So that's really what it does, and it allows us to, that I can't get out of the primary key and the sort key, and I don't want to have to like filter through records, right? So that's what that does. Sorry, I keep going back to that screen to see you guys to make sure you can see it. So as you see here, right, they're pretty much all the same. Okay. So we're gonna do.
There's two quick questions about GSIs that I actually am curious about myself. Are you able to see the chat, Matthew?
I keep jumping back.
Oh, well, basically someone was just saying that GSIs are async, and then someone was wondering, are GSIs have to be string?
I don't know. You can make a GSI well, I imagine it has to be a string or a number. I'm not sure about an integer. I think you could get away with an integer as the primary key. You can make the sort key. I'm not sure off the top of my head, actually. Okay. I've never thought about it like that. All I know is you would never want to put anything really other than a string inside your primary key and sort key if you're like combining different attributes into your sort key. Yep. So always strings is what I do.
Yeah, I also only use strings, so I don't know if anything else is allowed. But you know, intuition wise, you want something sortable. So it makes sense that there might be numbers. I don't know. Just taking sweet time. Lost it. Sorry, y'all. Or my computer's hurting, all that stuff going on. I'm gonna answer more questions that are in the chat since you're typing. Would you be able to build a GSI that can be used to filter an amount in a category? Yes, especially if you do like sparse design. Sometimes that's really like I'd say that's like an advanced use case of GSIs. But yeah, filtering is obviously, you know, something that a lot of people want to do, and we don't really have a first class API like unless you scan for stuff. So GSIs are a good way to do it. And Wong Asta asks if Amplify is integrated with Pinpoint. Answer is yes. It's the analytics category. So just head to Amplify Analytics and you'll see all the Pinpoint instructions. I think it's one of the easiest things to integrate. All right, so now what we're gonna do, I don't know why I keep stopping on this. I'm sorry, y'all. Like keeps freezing on it. Should I answer more questions? I don't want to like interrupt your flow. I'm sorry, I don't know why. Go ahead. Yeah, keep going. Lord Rosa asks, why does changing an index then amplify push break everything? I don't actually know what that means. What? I do. When you add a set, so like you can only add one secondary index at a time in DynamoDB. So they're looking at doing like making that like synchronous. So like you would, while you're sitting there waiting for your table to update, it'll do both, even though DynamoDB can only add or remove one at a time. So is that a CLI issue? I mean, someone was just talking about how I don't think you can actually like physically do it with DynamoDB. Like it'll only allow you to like update and add or remove one at a time. But I'm not sure. It might be a CLI issue. Yeah, I mean, like CLI shouldn't let you do things that you're not that's going to fail. Should
Oh, I'm sorry.
try to prevent.
Yeah, if you go to do it in the CLI, it'll tell you you're not allowed because you physically you can't update both. Sure do.
Ooh, Wong asked got a job on the analytics team. That's awesome. Congrats. Yeah, it's awesome. Wow. June Future says, on the GSIs, I've tried using greater than and less than, but it seems like only contains and between works. Yes. I think that's why you have to use hashes that are, I think, what they call case sortable. And yeah, that's why you do between, which approximates to greater than and less than. I'm actually not sure on the greater than less than part. Like, I feel like there's a way to do it, but I'd have to pull up the DynamoDB book to confirm that. FK1 Pro, how can we integrate Amplify with CloudFront to take advantage of the characteristics of CDN and retrieve information, only get operations from a GraphQL API? What? I don't think you want to put CloudFront on top of a GraphQL API. I don't see how that makes sense. But if you really want to, you have to do it manually. Amplify doesn't set it up for you, but you can configure CloudFront to cache your GraphQL responses if that's what you're looking for. You just have to set a custom header, and I think AppSync may require some customization to set those expirations for however long you want to cache your responses. Like, I know this is a thing that people do. I don't like doing it because cache invalidation is hard. But if you need that for the performance, then yes, you'd have to set a CloudFront manually. How we doing?
Man, my computer is hurting right now.
Hey, I think you should close some of your, like, you don't have to be on Twitch. Like, the rest of us can be on Twitch for you. Yeah, because you're like just streaming audio, random stuff back and forth, and it's just too much.
I'm gonna have to get a new machine here soon. It might be my camera too. I could probably disconnect my webcam. I don't know if that's taking up juice. Let's do this.
Okay, Setzawa says, when would you say it's better to build a GraphQL implementation over an old-fashioned REST API? How do you make the decision? Ooh, classic GraphQL versus REST question. I would say if you are very, very familiar with REST, keep going with REST. Like, there's nothing wrong with REST. GraphQL, I really like it for nested things where you can sort of infinitely nest. That's where you get the benefits of GraphQL, really, because otherwise you're just writing a whole bunch of resolvers unless you're using AppSync. AppSync definitely takes away a lot of the pain of GraphQL. And then when you have at scale, when you have performance issues with regards to how much data you're sending over the wire, GraphQL lets you request only the stuff that you want, and it lets you really iterate much quicker because that, that's just defined by your client. So especially if you're doing cross-platform, like your web is going to have different data demands from your mobile. I really like GraphQL for that because you can really tweak on the level of like how much data you're getting back from the fields. So yeah, I think that's the recommendation. But definitely, I think there's a strong like REST is dead, like use GraphQL for everything. I kind of don't like that. I think that's irresponsible. And REST is perfectly well tested and fine for a lot of use cases, and it's simple. So yeah, you can do the same with both. Like, don't get too married to one paradigm or the other.
There we go.
How are we looking?
Okay, cool. All right, so like I said, we designed this, even though these are pointing and these have models, we're gonna eventually take all of these configs off, okay, and just repoint the CloudFormation sources, okay, to our product table. So how we do that, okay, we're gonna pirate this stuff over. So we're gonna copy all of our stack sources from our build, right, into our stacks down here. So,
Oh, using the CP. Why don't you use? I think you can just right click and paste.
you know,
Old school.
I guess it was just easier. I thought I could do it, but I always have problems with folders inside of.
Yeah. What I do is I open up, copy it within Finder, because yeah, VS Code.
Do not understand, and I cannot tell you why, because there's something about how a CloudFormation template is generated and pass things into these nested stacks. All I know is that these variables, some of them do not come through. So what we do is we go to our custom resources, which is like a blank slate, and we're going to copy their parameters and their conditions and outputs into our stacks here. First, we're going to go in here. Okay. Go grab our condition. So we do that here.
Ooh, he's back. Yeah, you're still soft, but we can hear you. Matt A. Yeah. Yep. We got two Matts, so I'm calling you Matt A. Yep, you're coming through loud and clear for me. I don't know about Twitch. Am I just talking? Okay, it seems like the Twitch stream still can't hear you.
What about now? I
Matt A.
think I fixed it. That was weird. It looks like it's coming through.
I don't know. Keep talking.
Okay, cool. Okay, so it looks like we both we got unstuck. Cool.
We're
This
gonna
is
go
really
ahead and
used
oh,
to
go
be easy.
ahead.
Oh no. Yeah, you're copying over the auto generated configuration.
Yes. So really, we only want the ones that are going to be that we're going to have to customize, which is really anything outside of the ones with the add model on it, including like connections or direct Lambda resolvers. All right. So then we go on here. We've updated our conditions and our outputs. Need to get the parameters on one more. And then what we're going to do is use our nifty little buddy CFN lint, which if the viewers on here, if you don't use CFN lint when you're getting into these custom resources in here, you are doing yourself a disservice. I cannot tell you how many hours I have wasted on CloudFormation deployments failing and then waiting. It is frustrating.
I have never heard of it. I just copy and paste and pray. what is?
Yeah, where is it, like in the extension store?
It's a CLI command.
So I have like a little function that I don't in my ZSH batch, but we're just gonna do one of these. And I'll tell you right now, it's gonna be like, oh, GraphQL API ID doesn't exist. And you're like, oh, damn. Okay. So let's go find it.
But sometimes these are fine, right? Or okay, they're like a broken reference. I see.
Yes. Yeah. So we're gonna point this to our AppSync ID. Let's CFN it again.
You said this is a bash alias.
The ZSH.
ZSH alias.
Yeah.
I think we might want to share that too.
Okay, we can definitely do that. Oh, here, I'm doing this on the wrong one. So we don't need a category table anymore, right? We don't need an IAM role because they're all going to be handled by product. And we don't even need a category data source. So we can get rid of all these resources. Okay. Prep for these. These are in multiple places, so make sure you find all of them, just to make sure. Right. Okay, we don't have a category data source anymore because we're always going to point to the products table. And an amplify for the data, or an AppSync for the data source name, it's just the product table. Just the product or the table name or table. That will be product table. More. Okay. Okay, category is good. Let's go to connection. See what we got in here. We do not need that. We do not need that. We do not need that. This is going to generate our resolvers for us, which is awesome. Okay, we're going to have to graph again because this does not exist. Yes. Okay, we know this does not exist either. The product table. See if I link this bad boy. Looking good. So we got that. Category. Connection. I did get category, right? Cool. All right.
Look at that.
All right. So we got all three of those, right? So now we got our custom stacks. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we need to copy all of the resolvers over. Because once we get rid of these, right, on our tables or on these types, it's going to get rid of all our resolvers. So we'll copy action again. And we got all our resolvers over here now. Sweet.
How do you get those paths so fast?
I just drag them down and it pulls the path in.
Really?
Oh, I didn't know that.
I should do that.
Okay, so now we have, right, we've got these. Okay, so the other thing that's going to happen is when we get rid of these auth directives, okay, it's going to get rid of them in CloudFormation too. So what we're going to do for our custom resource is essentially going to act as our auth resource, right? So go find auth role. So we're going to have this and the unauth role. I'm getting a little ahead of myself because I know I am missing one. We're also going to have a little direct Lambda action in here, but I guess we'll come back to that. Yep, okay. So the auth role, I'm going to scoop both of these. I'm going to go drop them in here. And I know it's going to fail because it's going to say about the GraphQL API ID. All right, so we're going to go grab these. We're going to point this to ref. Yeah, see how many places this is. Say ref. Sync. Yeah. Okay, we're missing our auth role, which is actually just a parameter. So if we go grab it, so we can just go grab it from in here, I believe. These are automatically available to any of these nested templates. Here.
John Grimm says he's lost. He's new to Amplify and data modeling. Is there a go-to tutorial or source for learning the basics? Okay, yeah, John, like, don't worry, like you don't have to do this to use Amplify. And this is not specific to Amplify. This is more about DynamoDB, but it does use Amplify to generate the CloudFormation stack, which is what you're seeing over here. So yeah, the I hate to do this, but the guide is really the Alex Debris book, the DynamoDB guide. I
Oh
reviewed.
my gosh.
What?
No,
What?
it's just funny. The book.
Yeah, I mean, like it really is that good. There may be other resources that are out there. I'm just saying what I've been exposed to.
The one.
Yeah, like yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was just also gonna add, I forget who just added that. Who said they were lost, but basically, like, I would say this is definitely more like a 300-400 level Amplify and Friends session. So if you're new, I would just check out one of our getting started guides.
Right, but like to me, this matters because it lets you scale beyond just the basic use cases, which Amplify tries to make simple. The whole point is to leave escape hatches like this.
Totally. No, I was just saying though, if you're new, I wouldn't. Might not be the exact place to start. That's all I was saying.
Well, yeah, that's for sure. But yeah, you get into like entity relationship diagrams,
Right.
like the one that we saw, and yeah, I mean it's important, and then you have to think about how it maps to the infrastructure that you want to spin
Totally.
up. So
I want to say one note here is what we're doing is again, all of these are based off of AutoGen features, all of these at directives. So if I remove these, which I'm going to have to, right, because I want it to point at the product table, I still want all the generated from my schema folder, right? So that's what this is doing here. So the only problem is we have a connection that technically pointed to the product table, but it's really just going to point to the same table. And we're going to fix that in a second. Really, like at a certain point, like you really only do this at a base. And then once you get your base, it's just a lot easier to just go add resources to CloudFormation based off of what you've seen. This is really just to like get you up and running off the ground and then, make your adjustments from there.
Totally. Totally.
Come on, baby. Come through. Here we go. So here's all our generated stuff for product, for category, and category product. So what we're going to do is essentially comment these out. And replace them with all the auto-generated ones. Okay.
I love how it shows up in the auto mini map thing.
What's that?
It shows up in the auto mini map thing when you paste it. It just like added a whole bunch of type stuff. Yeah.
Oh, nice. What products are here? And I know for a fact it's going to whine about the at model connection later. So we're going to All right, so I also have a direct Lambda resolver in here. So we're gonna add our custom mutations here in a second. Because when you update this, you have to update categories, product categories in batches essentially, right? So,
I think you can update them all at once.
no, I'm saying, okay, so I was talking about earlier, every time we create a product and we associate it with a category, we're going to create a product category record. So if I have a product that's in 3 categories, that means I will have ultimately 4 records. The original product record and then a product category record for each. So if I make updates to my original record, that means I need to go update the other 3 records. And someone's gonna be like, well, Matt, now you have 4 records and multiple indexes, and you have to do how many write request units, which is 5 times more as expensive as a read request unit. And what I will say to you is you will update these products a lot less than you will make read requests on non-single table design. So I've done the math, and it costs almost nothing based off of how often you would. Now, if you have a different use case where you're updating it all the time, and you're gonna have 10 associations, this is not gonna work. But for this particular scenario, it will work.
Totally.
All right, and I'm just gonna do a little bit of cheating here to speed this up.
We have more questions. Bikash Agrawal says, what is required to reach this 300, 400 level? Is there a learning guide? I don't know. I just watch other people. Like, yeah, I'm definitely not there yet myself. But all I am is understanding by absorbing, and probably there is a need for a course or a book or something that kind of ties all this information together. What do you use, Matt?
Which one?
Yeah, which one?
I thought that was gonna happen earlier.
Like what do you, because like I only pick this up from other people, like literally watching other live streams like this. What's your preferred choice of like leveling up in terms of I guess every part of the stack, right? Like from CloudFormation to like this AppSync stuff to to modifying whatever you need to do.
Well, Matt's also been around for the last 2 years, so he's seen it grow, I think.
I've just been doing it, man. If you want to learn this the best way, I highly recommend taking your Amplify project and converting it to serverless. Because once you start to look at like CloudFormation and really understand what it's doing, instead of just trying to like cram answers in there, you'll get really, really, really far.
You mean so converting to serverless framework?
Yeah. So like So like back in the day, Amplify wasn't nearly as flexible as it was now. So I had to like take this project as I was trying to incorporate somebody else's essentially walkthrough into my own. And so I ended up having to like take everything out of Amplify and move it over to serverless. And when I had to move all those Cognito resources and everything else, and it's just like your head spins. But once I finally got through it and had to map all those fields and understand what was actually going on, I had such a deeper understanding of what was going on under the hood.
That's legit. Yeah. I think, in some levels, every abstraction is leaky in different ways. And you always have to understand one level below the abstraction that you're currently working at to know, what you're actually doing under the hood.
Yeah. Someone also asked about certification. I don't think it's available today, but it might be something that we're gonna do. I think that would make sense. But yeah, I mean, there's tons of docs, there's tons and tons of guides out there. Just a quick call out to the community guide section. Let me find that.
I mean, we definitely don't have anything like this. We have stuff in the blogs. So whenever you do product releases, we actually have covered things like this before, where you generate the CloudFormation and then modify stuff. You pick it up from experts when they put out content, but it's blogs which kind of have a decay in terms of popularity and reach, we could do better in terms of documenting this stuff, because yeah, this is where people really need help. For June future, is the Zoom being recorded for reference? It's on Twitch. I think we transferred it to YouTube after a while.
Yeah, I'll put it
And,
on Discord.
Exactly. Yeah. So just keep an eye on the Discord, but it'll be on Twitch for at least a couple of weeks or 6 weeks, whatever the default is.
Feel free to ping me on Twitter anytime. I love helping with other people's work and not doing my
own. Yeah. I think, yeah. So Twitter and Discord, I'd say definitely hit up the Discord for this kind of questions. Yeah, that's where I go to. It's like, GitHub is probably too async to really go back and forth on like refining what it is you actually want. So
Let me
I think Discord,
put your Twitter in here.
All right, now we're gonna use some direct Lambda resolvers in here. How about you?
Whoop whoop. So this is the new feature that we launched like a couple weeks ago, right?
Yes. This is how I actually had that blog post where I went over this, but we're gonna do it again here for these purposes too. Your environment in there. So these are essentially, all my custom mutations that I need to do that I'm too lazy to figure out with VTL or don't know how to do. Yeah, that's pretty much what it is most of the time with me. If I don't want to, like, if I do a direct Lambda resolver, it's because I'm too lazy to figure out something in VTL. So this is going to spit out.
Yeah, that's the feature of all this stuff. Like nobody wants to use VTL. Although it's learnable, like I've looked at the docs, like it's a different language, but it's VTL, velocity templating language.
Yeah, that's tough.
I mean, it's learnable. It's just another language,
Mm-hmm.
It does. It eventually makes sense, and then there's just like certain things I want to do that like it's honest, I'm just too lazy to figure it out. All right. So
I just really like JavaScript. That's all. JavaScript's great. Are we? Oh, so Ken Darith says about community builders. Are you looking for English content or other languages too? Obviously English, yes. Are we Elise or Matt? Are we looking for other languages? I don't know.
I don't know actually.
I mean, why not?
I would say why not, right? Like we might as well have them in other languages.
Yeah. Obviously, I think popular languages. Just go in order of like however many people speak. Like we want to kind of focus on the most reach. But I see absolutely no reason why not. So
that was funky. That looks like a problem.
So by the way, Matt, we have about 10 minutes left.
Cool.
Why you do this? No stress.
And then we'll do some closing announcements.
Worst case scenario, I'm just gonna just deploy this other project because I have it sitting here in another repo and I could show you, and I'll show you the good one. But the whole point here is not really that it works necessarily. It's that you understand how to go in and point your resources the right way so that you are empowered to go do this yourself. And the whole point is taking advantage of the functions that the directives that generate code for you and then making the most of it.
Yeah, it's always a tough call to live code under a time limit. We never finish.
We've always run over.
So don't feel bad about it. But no, it's I think it's good to get the awareness out there that you can do this kind of stuff. For a lot of people, including myself, large chunks of that Amplify folder are complete black boxes. Like, do not ever go there. And so when you write blog posts like the one that you did, we should throw that up, by the way, Matt. I don't know if you have it, but we should actually throw that up. Yeah, like it really demystifies a lot like what it's trying to do for you, and it also tells you the value of what Amplify is doing under the hood, because there are other platforms which kind of just hide it away from you for using proprietary stuff. All of this is open source, and all of this interfaces directly with AWS's core language, which is CloudFormation. So that's kind of how I view it. Like that's whenever you want, you can sort of take over that customization, and I mean that's valuable in itself.
Yeah, I know this probably looks confusing to you guys, a lot of guys or a lot of people. It's just ultimately you could do this yourself and write these out, and you would know a lot more. The only reason I'm able to do this so quickly is because I've done this a handful of times now. So I would never expect anyone to like be zipping through this the way that I am.
I also think like it could be the case that in future we might generate CDK. I'm not
That's a
promising.
whole can of worms.
Well, I'm just like,
Oh.
CDK is so much more readable than
It's complicated
CFN.
though. Like there's definitely a learning curve to it.
CDK?
Yeah, I've used it.
Well, it's easier than CloudFormation.
That's fair. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, for the folks who are also just watching us on Twitch, if you have ideas for future topics or people that you'd like to see on, if you want to send us a tweet to our Amplify Twitter, just saying what you'd like to see, we'll take that into consideration for future future streams. Have you been enjoying it, Matt? It's not too stressful.
Oh, I am the other Matt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I forgot. Yeah.
Definitely, I feel like we've put you through a lot.
Well, I always get a little nervous regardless of what I'm talking, so.
No, this is
most
cool.
people-
I mean, I think to Sean's point, this is the content that at least I see in Discord and GitHub. People really want to push it forward who are using GraphQL to its fullest. Like I think our docs do a good job of like the base cases, but we definitely need to add more content like this. Especially as apps really scale and you want to think about cost savings.
So we don't want these to actually be pipelines. We want these to be unit resolvers, right? This will get a little confusing for some of you first timers for sure. The point is we don't want a pipeline resolver. We just want a direct Lambda resolver. So we can get rid of this.
So what's the difference?
So there really is no difference. When you do the at function inside the schema and it auto generates, it'll put a pipeline config, so they don't have a before mapping template and an after mapping template with your direct Lambda crunched in between it. So it's really all the same. The only pipeline resolver is really just a series of functions.
Totally.
Like when you look at these, you've got resolvers here, and then we've got function configurations. So this lets us put this Lambda in as the data source, right? Or I'm sorry, in the pipeline config if we need it. And then these are just relying directly on it. So this is the function, but we actually don't want this is the function. We want this here, the data source goal, and the data source. Oh, I guess we don't need one. Do we? No, we definitely do. Do we? No, it's a resolver. Getting confused. Does it need one? Anybody? I cannot remember. I'll go find out. Cha-cha. Yes, we do need a data source name. All right. And we're going to go back here, get rid of the at directives. And we also need to add auth roles essentially for these 3 services. Oh, I put that on the wrong one. Paula. Okay, so essentially we need to come in here and add auth roles just because I haven't added them yet. And then I'm also going to do like a blog post that's going to be more detailed on this, so you'll have a much better idea. I'll probably end up trying to do this again on video. A little bit more control. And then, real quick, just add those to our auth roles. Right. 1, 2, 3. There. 1. Mm. 2. And there's 3. Add new vendor and add. I will be amazed if this deploys correctly. And we see it not down.
You've been doing open heart surgery. And, but like you seem very practiced at this, so I don't know. I think it might work.
All right. And then we need to update our Lambda to have access to this resource.
By the way, I always alias Amplify to A, so I don't have to keep typing it.
We don't need the whole alias. Sean is a big alias type programmer.
No,
I'm with you.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's a
someone
pain when I
missed.
do talks because then people are like, "What's A?" and then I have to go this whole long spiel.
Yes, it will be recorded on Twitch, but then I will move it over to YouTube. And if you're in our Discord channel called Amplify with Friends, I'll post the link there, or we'll also tweet it out. And we have the 2 other episodes. Oh.
Look at those custom things showing up now in the CLI.
Okay, we have to wrap up.
Yeah. This could be a lot easier. I think our CLI could support doing this automatically for you. You know.
For sure. I've thought about doing it myself somehow, but I don't know how to generate that stuff. But you guys have to have these templates somewhere. Be easy to replace it with JavaScript.
Yeah.
Or no.
Do you want to quickly?
You might want to file an issue for that, and then we can try to take it up internally. Because I think that's. I mean, everyone wants to use this, so it's just one of those things that has got to be streamlined with the CLI.
Matt, would you want to take like 30 seconds to quickly summarize what you've done in this stream? Someone has asked.
Yeah, so pretty much what we did is we pirated Amplify's code gen to create a bunch of resolvers for us. So we had our single table design. We understand how queries, scans, and gets work, but really putting together your schema design is going to take more time than anything. And it's a puzzle, and you have to kind of play with it. And then once you get that, you can use Amplify, and with a few minor modifications, you can pretty much still auto-generate all your code and then still work off single table design. I will just give one example here of what the data at least looks like.
And I'm putting Matt's Twitter in the chat, so he will be taking follow-up questions as well as in the Discord. So you can join our Discord here.
So you guys see, so this is what some data would look like. So at the end of the day, what I've done here, right? This is a product. This is a category. and this is a product category. So now when I go to get a category, it will automatically go grab the category by name as the primary key, which will never change, and then return me all of my products. So if I had a category with 100 products, instead of going to create a many-to-many, because I have 2 categories, which I'd have to say, hey, go get me the category, go get me the 2 products, the multiple products associated with this category, and then go resolve those products from the products table. This, it's just go get me categories and then go get me the products all in one shot. So I can take your 100 requests, your 100 database requests to go get products, well, like 103, and turn it down to like 2. It's just it's one get and one query. So I'll show you right here.
That's
just
cool.
to see what that looks like. All right, so we go category. I think I have this on the GSI. So we go, we go. Oh, that's its PK. What am I saying? There is no GSI. Yeah. So if I just go like this.
We are gonna have to wrap up soon because the next show.
Hit it. Let's go. And boom. These are all my category products now.
Whoa. Sorry, let me see. Oh, wow.
And that is all based off of
That's
that
really
original.
cool.
Yeah. And so it's, if I have 10 categories, I'll go get 10 categories, and then those 10 categories will each make one query, versus 10 categories going to get 100 products each, going to get 1,000
queries.
1,000 requests. Yeah.
You've just saved a lot of money.
Oh, dude. So much. So again,
We
and I'll share
should
this.
retitle this the $7,000 live stream.
Yeah, it is. This is.
Yeah. Here, I actually got. Well, I know it's time to go, so I'll just leave you with this.
It is.
Right here. Some quick math.
Whoops. Sorry about that.
1,000 sessions.
Oh, you literally did the math. Oh.
Wait.
Yeah.
I can't see
This
it.
is literally the math. If I have 10,000 sessions a minute, let's just say on average 60 minutes a day, 5 days a week, times a month, right? It's not so much that 100 million is bad, but it's when you have 100 million and then it goes to go get those 100, right? That's when you get that exponential, and then it's $7,000. And then with the way I've done it, this is your monthly bill. Now it's $87.
There you go.
Okay, we have to go because the containers from the couch show is supposed to start 2 minutes ago.
From serverless to containers.
So if you want to learn about containers, yeah, thank you. I've put Matt's Twitter in the chat, and I believe Elise has put his blog post. We will also have him in Discord. So yeah, thank you so much for being on the show, and we'll see everybody in 2 weeks from now.
All right.
Thank
Bye,
you,
everyone.
Appreciate it. Thank you.